CJ Peterson, and welcome to The Journey is Real. We talk to real people with real passions who share a real portion of their heart. Today, my guest is Rebeka Shadpour. Hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, very well.
Awesome. We're going to be talking about a journey of the heart. Rebeka is what's known as a spiritual healer, and that's the reason we came up with that title. Rebeka, thank you for coming on today, and thank you for sharing your heart.
Sure, I'm glad to be here.
Could you please explain to us exactly what a spiritual healer is and what they do?
Well, there are so many different spiritual healers in different ways, method, different channeling, different ideas or connections. And I guess after many years following that passion in my heart to healing people in different ways and methodology, I got to a point that I can call it a healer in a certain way. It could be in many different ways, and I have my own ways of healing certain fears, blockage of energy, stagnant of energy, and even sometimes physical pains in body created from those mental illnesses or blockages or stagnance of energy.
So you kind of set people free, basically. You kind of dig down in there and find out what it is and set them free. Can you explain to us exactly how this came about? Like what brought this on? What was your journey that brought you to this?
The journey started from when I was 19 years old, and I got involved in a very dramatic accident, which I had a hip pelvic broken cheekbone. I was completely paralyzed and hospitalized for over 2 months. I couldn't walk. Half of my face was gone. And basically, in that accident, when I opened my eyes in hospital, I immediately knew I have not been in this world for some time. I knew I was in a different location or place that I knew those beings around me, they were not human. They were spiritual beings. I didn't know who they are. I was so skeptical about other world, spiritual life or matters. And I was totally skeptical about anything that had anything to do with past lives or out of this physical planet that I would not touch or see. And the moment I opened my eyes, I knew there was something else beyond this world. And they were black and white beings around me making a decision whether I have to come back or I go, a different journey. The moment I came back, I didn't know if I can ever walk again. I was so scared in hospital, full of pain. But this picture and momentum was with me, and I knew it was not a dream. I knew it was not. I tried to talk to a few people about it. My mom was very skeptical. My dad, everybody was like, oh, you had a dream, you had a dream. Like they were just trying to brush me off and talk about anything else but that. And the picture stuck to me for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Looking for an answer who these beings were, why they were around me, what did they do, why do I have a second chance for life, why am I here, and so many other questions as a human. Where am I coming from, where am I going, why this happened to me and nobody else, why this is happening, what's the message. And so many different doors and spiritual guides came my way within that 10 years until I was heading a classroom, a very spiritual classroom, which I still was skeptical about it. And this master was teaching us about out-of-body experience in that class while you're alive. And I was so skeptical about it to a level that I told my husband, let's go. This is bullshit. I don't want to hear it. And the moment I was walking out of the door, I clearly remember that he was talking about the exact same beings that I seen in that moment. The way they look, the way they act, in the way they are supposed to be approached to enter certain gates of heaven or the other world, you call it. And I was like, whoa, let's go back. He's talking about something I've been looking for that answer for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment was a moment of a breakthrough for me. I came back, sat down, and I was listening to all this master conversation from a completely different viewpoint, and so many different self-improvement classes, financial freedom classes, so many different things came my way, and a lot of ups and downs in life that I had the challenge with, especially 2008, that we had the meltdown. And as a licensed broker, I realized, wow, I have my business from where I started it 20 years ago, doing import export, and I was also a real estate broker doing real estate. And I'm going down so bad that this is something, it needs some support and help from different realms. I can't even help myself or anyone around me, knowing everyone were losing their homes, they were going down, my family, relative, friends, neighbors, everybody were going down financially, and it was not a joke. I remember I started to talk to angels, and I was looking for guidance, and I was looking for a way to get to understand what's going on, and I can save myself. I was making covenants with, I don't know what kind of angels, but I was feeling something that was supposed to come help me and people around me. So I was begging for certain power and guidance to be able to save myself financially, losing my house, and so many different aspects, that it was business, financial, and even hope at that time. And things started switching and shifting to a complete different way. And I learned so much about physical and spiritual both journeys, that it came together at certain point for me to realize, oh my God, I gained so much that I can now give back to my community and whoever needs that help. I learned and I grew out of it and came up from a complete broke level to a multi-million dollar assets and companies.
Wow.
Without filing bankruptcy.
That's impressive. Good job. So where did you bridge it between your journey and helping other people with their journeys? How did you bridge that?
I learned so many techniques and methods to be able to remove the stagnant energy that's causing so much trouble for people moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear that I had, when I confronted that fear, doing so many things, I realized the key question, the key factor here was dealing and confronting our fears in so many levels. And that was something that I started working on myself, taking the risks I was supposed to take, and taking the possibility of working through certain methods with different people who are stuck. And it was coming to me why they're stuck. Like when I talk to someone wanting to move from one area to a different area of their life, I can totally get to a answer for that person, and find the reason and root behind their stagnance of energy. And the moment I start asking them certain questions and training them about how to get into their emotions, feel and feel and feel the emotion within that, knowing where it came from and how it got stuck in that particular part of their body, I help them to release it. And it's either going to release them from a physical pain or emotional pain, or even financial stagnant that they cannot move forward, or anything that they cannot get to, even relationship. I have clients, they wanted to get married. It wouldn't happen. Anybody they would go out with, somehow somebody would not happen, and they would cry to me, I don't know why it's not happening. And with one session, the next month I would get a call, oh my God, I found my husband and we're getting married and blah, blah, blah. I had these with people who could not give birth. They were not getting pregnant. I had clients who were completely broke in their businesses, and I could help them move with their new ideas and passion, and figure out where their stagnant of energy is with a level of being which it was below a certain energy level which they could not vibrate to bring that possibility and attraction to their life to make more money. Same thing with, I had a client last week and I'm so excited about it. I just want to share this. A client and a friend, she called me and she said she has a surgery appointment for her neck because she can't sleep for the past year. And she had tremendous amount of pain in her neck, having 3 discs showing in MRI. And she was asking me, can I come to see you for a session? Do you think you can do anything? I said, listen, I'm not going to charge you. Just come. I want to see what we can and cannot do. Did you have any accident? She said, no, it just happened a year before and it just constantly bothering me. So when she came within 2 hours, I could totally get how it started it, how the pain goes in and out. It wasn't a pain that got created by an accident or something. It was totally mental and emotional pain that started it from a certain place that she was putting her head on the bed pillow and the pain would start and she couldn't sleep for a year. And when I took her back, I realized there was a start of certain trauma that she was sleeping a year ago in her bed, looking at her Facebook messages, and she found a very disturbing message that she completely lost. And from that point on, everything got connected for her to be in a certain position, putting her neck in a certain position, and that shock was managed to be controlling and getting her to stagnant of energy in her neck. And she was going with this pain for over a year. Wow. She didn't know where it came from. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, we did some very light work of the releasing of energy and emotion for that moment when she was out of pain. She called a week later and she was completely free of pain. She told me after 1 year, I could sleep without pain.
Oh, wow.
And it was the biggest news I could get from someone who worked with me through physical pain, giving me this message that this worked and this work can remove pain from her neck. And she canceled her surgery, knowing the surgery would only remove the symptom, not the actual problem. Mm-hmm. So this was the biggest news I got from one of the people who I try to help with. And I was testing to see if I can help them in a way, if they're open, of course, to wanting to help themselves, to help through spiritual healing. Mm-hmm. And it was a very big success in my level of being.
Mm-hmm. I used to be a counselor, so I totally get it. People don't understand what stress does to a body, whether it's physical, emotional, whether it's mental or whether it's physical. Stress affects the body more than people fully understand. And so I can see that if there was something that disturbing that threw her, and she just kind of stayed in that zone that over a year, it's going to wreak havoc on her.
It was totally stagnant of energy in her neck. And then while I was working with her, she was coming up with certain different part of her body. She told me she's feeling this stagnant of energy somewhere else in her body, which we removed that as well. And she was telling me how she got released and she felt like she's completely reborn from this method. And she was so happy.
Well, I'm sure it made you happy too. I know when I'm counseling somebody and they kind of make over that hump, it's just like light bulbs and fireworks.
So much satisfaction that I cannot even explain it. It's like that joy of a spiritual level of being rather than just physical joy. Some people are like about looking for happiness in shopping or buying certain brand name of clothes or shoe, or talking about certain people's life, and this brings them joy. And I just want to invite everyone to let them know what a difference it makes in our soul level when we catch or experience this kind of happiness and satisfaction when another soul talking to me soul to soul, giving me this news that I feel better, I feel energized, I feel different,
Mhm.
and I feel free of pain.
Exactly. When, like I said, people don't understand how much havoc that your body has to take in when you're under stress and duress and you don't deal with it in a healthy way. Um, yeah, I mean, I get it. I went from hypoglycemic to full-blown diabetic on medication at one point, figured it out, and now I'm actually not even hypoglycemic anymore. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
God, I love to hear that. I
yeah,
have so many diabetics around me.
yeah, dealing with stress in a healthy way. People are like, well, I went to the doctor because I was having this symptom and that symptom and this symptom. And I'm like, okay, but what's the reason for it? And they're like, oh, well, the doctor just said that I needed to take this medicine. Okay, but what's the reason for it? It's like the
Exactly.
medicine is a Band-Aid, but you got to get that infection out that's underneath that Band-Aid, or you're not doing your body any good. You're going to be fighting
What
with your body.
caused it? What caused it to begin with? And this is exactly what I do. I bring people back to the roots and how and when everything started. And it's very interesting that 99.9% of the time, when they recall what happened to them and where they started from, it's just gone. It's going away. The pain goes away, unless they've been living with it for many, many, many years, and it's just completely blocked. And you cannot get them to look into it and get to see where it started it all from. But I also figured one more thing that I like to share here. I have so much to share about fear and how we confront fear to get rid of that. But beyond that, I also want to add that it's how important it is. Who are the people around us and who we're living with? In so many levels, I learned that even as a good soul or being, if you're interacting with people who are antisocial, or they are not having good level of energy, or they are creating blockages with the way they are in us, there is a whole session about it that I can talk and bring this info to people that those people never get hurt, but people around them with good energy get stuck, stagnant energy get into them, they become an accident prone. There are so many things happen to them that they're just being suppressed because of the other person. And there's a way to heal themselves by either disconnecting or stopping themselves from arguing or getting into any conversation with those kind of people with those type of energy. And that's the only way out for them to create a boundary to make sure they keep themselves from constantly becoming the victim of that person suppressed and cause those to be somehow changing their life to a negative direction.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I can usually feel what other people are feeling around me. And so if there's somebody who's got like a negative attitude, I feel like I'm getting smacked across the head when I'm around them. So I'm just like, gosh, I love you, but I can't be in here anymore. you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's hard to process and hard to deal with sometimes. And so being an author, blogger, podcaster, sometimes for me it's easier to talk to people when it's over the internet because I'm not right in their presence and trying to sort through things. But that's why I do The Journey is Real, because a lot of people have a lot of inspirational stories, and that kind of fires my soul up. I'm just like, yay. I love to pass the positive on and the different things. You overcame a lot. You overcame physical and emotional and mental all at the same time. It sounded like they kind of all collided on you at one point, and you overcame it. And but you not only overcame it, but you're able to help other people through it. And to me, that is amazing. I love to hear stories like that. And that's kind of the whole purpose behind The Journey is Real. So people understand that, they're not alone. You know, they may be
Yes.
going through whatever they're going through, but they're not alone in this world. And the world of social media, a lot of times people put their best face forward, and that is actually the most hurtful thing that can happen. When you're not real and you're not transparent, you're always happy. That's not real. I mean, there are times where, you know, you got to stand up. There are times where, you know, you kind of be vulnerable. You don't necessarily have to put it all over Facebook, but your friends, you know, they see, you know, what you're putting on Facebook, but they also know the other side of you. And there are other sides to people. They're not just the happy-go-lucky mask that you put on for social media. There's other things going on. When I lost my father 2 years ago, I put it on social media. I let people know, look, I just lost my dad, one of my closest people to me and to my heart besides my husband and God. And that hurt. And it took me a while to come out of that. But I wanted people to know that, you know, this is why I'm not responding right away. I'm processing. I'm working through this. And when you're real with somebody and with people in general, they actually are more receptive to that than people fully understand. And they don't get that. And so when, you know, you're dealing with stuff, don't be afraid to tell the truth. Don't be afraid to be honest.
I truly appreciate what you're doing, and people like you and yourself trying to figure these things out, bring this out to people and making it public. Me personally, I'm so much about healing people and I'm enjoying this, but I do it so privately up until now. I'm writing a book, but I'm just keeping it quiet to myself because I've been so busy with so many different levels of financials, emotionals, and other matters, and I'm trying to keep my family in sane and first, because I have some obligation towards my children, my first family, immediate second family, and I always try to be working from within to bring it out, to keep my balance with the whole circumstances that I have around me. And of course, Corona didn't help. I wanted to come out of.
Corona didn't help anybody. It's still not helping anybody.
It's just put me back in, like, stay there, you have a lot of work to do. And I had to do a lot of adjustments financially and emotionally with my family and my business, and make sure these are correctly addressed before I want to jump to bring my face out and helping other people. But meanwhile, I had so many people that they know me from before. They call me here and there, and I try to help as much as I can and open my time. But I do know if I go publicly speaking, I can totally make a big difference in so many different souls and hearts that it would be a big reward for me spiritually. And I'm willing to do that. And I really appreciate you coming out and putting your time and connecting with me. It just meant to be. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. So I know that you do a couple different things. You do the spiritual healing. You also do kind of life coach. You also do real estate development and construction. Can you tell just a little bit about that? We don't have a whole lot of time left. Can you tell a little bit about that?
About the real estate part, financial, or
just what is it exactly that you do with that?
I started from being a regular broker, but apparently there is something about me that I have so much passion about design and transforming. So somehow it just transformed to be in a different level of, okay, getting some fix and flip properties and making money that way. And I realized being in fabric business, I was a creator of fabric. I used to create fabric and sell to so many brand names like Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, so many BCBG. At that time, so many brand names were shopping for me, and I was #1 pioneer to create and make different fabric designs 6 months ahead of fashion. And I was always, not always, but 3-4 times I was on first page of apparel news for free. They wanted me to advertise what I did and how I created the fabric. Apparently the design was in me somehow, that I was creating those, and then it got into real estate. It manifested a different way that I could transform homes from complete tear down to a beautiful mansion. And it just was fascinating. People are giving me so much compliment. and you're asking me to design their home, it's just transformed my life.
So basically what you're doing on a spiritual level, you're doing to these homes when you kind of compare them together.
Yes.
That's actually really fascinating. I like that. So here's my other question. If people want to find out more about you, because you are such a fascinating character, how can they find you online?
You can get into my personal website, www.rebekashadpour.com, Shadpour, and my first name is Rebeka. Or you can get to my real estate website, which is www.wealthroadinc.com.
Okay, awesome. We have just about 3 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I like to invite people to confront their fears. Anywhere they are, they can question themselves. Where do they want to be? How do they want to get there? And what's holding them? This is the big question. What's holding you? And if you get to what's holding you, usually you get to answer what's holding you. It's either fear of something you want to start, fear of a risk you want to take, fear of starting or beginning something, or fear of letting go of something. And if you address those fears correctly, it could be with someone's help, or if you can internally analyze what is the fear that's holding us. It's a phenomenon of manifestation for us to get to the next step and confronting it. And yeah, in the beginning, they need few more questions to get to really getting rid of that fear and stagnant. But we can become self-cleaning oven, like I did. I used to be a certain regular person who I needed help, and look at me today. I can help anyone come and ask me any question, and I can totally help them with anything. I think we all have the opportunity to grow and have the real awareness that comes from within, and start just practicing and being it by help and getting to self-cleaning up.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Rebeka, and thank you so much for sharing your heart and your story. We really appreciate it. For anyone else, again, that's interested, it's www.rebekashadpour.com. That's www.rebekashadpour.com. And I want to thank you for listening to The Journey is Real, where we talk to real people with real passions who do share a real portion of their hearts. I'm CJ Peterson of cjpetersonwrites.com. Until next time.